My name is Mrs. Gable. I'm an old woman, and I live in a small, quiet town. I live alone in a little house with a beautiful garden, and I have 2 cats that I love very much. I like reading books, drinking warm tea, and looking out my living room window at the street. From my window, I can see the big park and the town bus stop, and that is how I saw him for the first time. Every single day, at exactly 4 o'clock in the afternoon, a big brown dog walks slowly down Main Street. He is an old dog. He has white hair around his nose, and his legs move a little stiffly. He walks straight to the bus stop, and then he sits down on the cold grass next to the blue bench. I don't know who owns this dog. He doesn't play with other dogs. He doesn't chase the birds in the park. He only does one thing. He looks at the street. He waits. Every 10 minutes, a big red bus arrives. I can hear the loud noise from my house. Shh! The doors open and people get off. I see tired people coming home from work. I see happy children coming home from school. Every time the doors open, the old dog stands up. He looks at every person very carefully. He looks at their faces. He looks at their bags. He smells the air. But after 2 minutes, the bus doors close and the bus drives away. The dog sighs and sits down on the grass again. He waits for the next bus. My heart aches every time I watch him from my window. I'm a curious woman, so I started asking my neighbors about my furry friend at the bus stop. It turned out that everyone in our small town noticed him too. We see him in the warm summer when the sun is hot. We see him in the autumn when the yellow leaves fall from the trees. We even see him in the cold winter when it snows. He is always there, sitting by that blue bench at 4 o'clock. One afternoon, I walked past the bus stop to go to the grocery store. I saw Tom, the kind bus driver. He opened his bus window and shouted, "Hello, buddy! How are you today?" I also saw a young girl named Sarah. She walked past the bus stop after school. She stopped and touched the dog's soft head. "You are a good boy," Sarah said to him. "You are very lucky to have a nice place to sit." Because of Sarah, everyone in the town, including me, started calling him Lucky. Soon, Lucky became a part of our town. I saw the baker from across the street bring Lucky a piece of fresh bread every morning. The woman from the flower shop always gave him a bowl of clean water. Lucky ate the food and wagged his tail to say thank you, but he never left the bus stop. His big brown eyes were always looking at the road. I kept asking myself, who is he waiting for? I need to find out. One rainy Tuesday, I decided I couldn't just watch him from my window anymore. The rain was heavy and very cold. I looked out, and Lucky was sitting in the rain. His brown fur was completely wet, and he was shaking from the cold, but he didn't move. He was staring intensely at a red bus. I grabbed my purple umbrella and walked quickly to the bus stop. I held my umbrella over his head to protect him from the rain. "Oh, Lucky," I said to him softly, "why are you here? It is raining very hard. Why don't you go home? Where is your home?" Lucky turned his head and looked up at me. His eyes were full of love, but they were also full of a deep, silent sadness. He let out a small woof, and then he looked back at the bus doors. At that moment, I knew there was a big secret here. This dog wasn't a wild dog. He was waiting for someone he loved very much. I decided that I must find out the truth. The next morning, I began my investigation. I wanted to know Lucky's real story. First, I went to the bakery. "Mr. Green," I asked the baker, "do you know who owns Lucky?" Mr. Green shook his head. "No, Mrs. Gable. Lucky came to this town 3 years ago. He was already old then. He just started sitting at the bus stop one day, and he never stopped." Next, I went to the post office. I talked to Mr. Brown, our old postman. He knows everyone in the town because he delivers the letters to every house. "Mr. Brown, do you know anything about the old brown dog at the bus stop?" I asked. Mr. Brown stopped sorting his letters. He looked at me, and his face became very serious and sad. "Ah, you mean Lucky," Mr. Brown said, sighing. "Yes, I know his story, but it is a very sad story, Mrs. Gable." I sat down on a wooden chair. "Please tell me, Mr. Brown. I need to understand." Mr. Brown sat down across from me. 3 years ago, an old man named Arthur lived in the little white house at the end of the street. He was a very kind man, but he lived alone. He didn't have any family. His only friend in the world was his dog, but the dog's real name wasn't Lucky. His name was Teddy. Mr. Brown smiled weakly as he remembered the past. Arthur and Teddy were always together, Mrs. Gable. In the morning, they walked in the park. In the afternoon, they sat in the garden. Teddy followed Arthur everywhere. They were best friends. Every Tuesday, Arthur had to go to the big city hospital for a checkup. He didn't have a car, so he took the 4 o'clock bus. Teddy always walked with Arthur to the bus stop. Arthur always patted his head and told him, "Stay here, Teddy. Be a good boy. I will come back on the bus tomorrow." I listened closely, my heart beating fast. Teddy was a very smart dog, Mr. Brown said, wiping his eye. He understood his master. He sat by the blue bench and waited. The next day, when the bus arrived, Arthur got off. Teddy jumped up and down and barked with joy. They walked home together, happy and safe. They did this for many years. "Then what happened?" I asked. 3 years ago, on Tuesday, Arthur got on the bus. He said, "Wait here, Teddy. I will come back." But Arthur was very sick, Mrs. Gable. That night, at the hospital in the city, Arthur died. He never came back. Tears ran down my face as I listened to Mr. Brown. Now I finally understood. Lucky wasn't just a random stray dog. Lucky was Teddy, the most loyal friend in the world. "Oh, poor Teddy," I whispered, crying. "He doesn't know that Arthur can't come back." "Yes," Mr. Brown said sadly. "Many people tried to take Teddy to their houses after that. The baker tried, I tried too. But Teddy always ran away and went straight back to the bus stop. He thinks Arthur is just late. He thinks if he waits long enough, his friend will open those bus doors and smile at him again." I stood up and thanked Mr. Brown. I walked out of the post office, and my eyes were blurry with tears. I walked directly to the bus stop. It was exactly 4 o'clock. Lucky was there, sitting by the blue bench, looking at the street. I didn't try to pull him away. I just sat down on the grass right next to him. "I am here, Teddy," I said softly, using his real name for the first time. You are not alone. Lucky turned his head to look at me. When he heard the name Teddy, his ears moved up. He looked into my eyes, and then he gently put his big, heavy head on my knee. My heart melted. I told Lucky's true story to the neighbors, and the news spread quickly through our small town. Soon, everyone knew about Arthur and his loyal dog, Teddy. We all decided to help him. We promised we would never force him to leave the bus stop again. Instead, we brought his home to him. Tom, the bus driver, bought a beautiful, warm, wooden doghouse. We put the doghouse right next to the blue bench at the bus stop. Inside, I brought a soft, warm blanket for my house. The baker brought him delicious food every single day. The children painted a beautiful sign on the doghouse that said, "Lucky's house, the goodest boy." Now, Lucky has a warm place to sleep when it rains or snows. He is never hungry, and he is never alone. Every afternoon at 4 o'clock, I walk over and sit with him on the blue bench. Sometimes Sarah joins us, and sometimes Mr. Brown comes too. Lucky still looks at every red bus. He still looks at the doors when they open, hoping to see Arthur. He is still waiting. But now he knows that he is loved by all of us. He taught our whole town the true meaning of loyalty. And as long as I am here, I will make sure he never waits alone. Before you go, here are 5 useful words from today's story. Stiffly, in a rigid or awkward way, not moving smoothly. Curious, wanting to know something. Investigation, the process of finding out facts or the truth. Loyal, faithful and devoted to someone or something. Intensely, with very strong focus or emotion. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.